Hey, good morning. I'm Paige Browning. It's Thursday. This is Seattle Now. Seattle's had its very own county-owned film production space for the last 5 years. It's called Harbor Island Studios. But recently, King County pulled its funding. Now a nonprofit called Create 48 has 1 year to prove the viability and necessity of the space. In a minute, we'll learn more from film critic and arts reporter Chase Hutchinson. But first, let's get you caught up. Amtrak trips between Seattle and Portland will remain halted until at least this Friday. Crews have started demolishing a burned warehouse in Portland's Pearl District that disrupted rail service for more than a week. Portland officials say vibrations from nearby rails could cause the building to collapse. Portland's police and fire departments are still investigating the cause of that fire. For now, Amtrak's providing bus service between Seattle and Portland. The reward has doubled to find a person suspected of killing a cat in Seattle, according to King 5. PETA and Pasado's Safe Haven are putting up $10,000 for information leading to their arrest and conviction. An unidentified person was caught on camera in late June carrying the cat, which was later found inside a dumpster in the University District. Anyone with information is asked to call Seattle Animal Control at 206-386-7387. And we've got a busy sports weekend on tap, so get ready for traffic in the Stadium District and near Climate Pledge Arena. It begins Friday as the Seattle Storm play their I-5 rivals, the Portland Fire, at 7 p.m. Also at 7, the Seattle Reign take on Chicago at Lumen Field. Saturday night, the Seahawks play their first preseason game against the Dallas Cowboys at 5. And Sunday, we got 2 games. The Storm play Chicago at 2 at Climate Pledge Arena, and the Sounders play Vancouver at 7:30. We'll be back with more headlines on tonight's episode of Seattle Now. Last November, the King County Council decided to pull funding from its only county-owned film production facility. Harbor Island Studios has hosted production of TV shows like Adult Swim's Three Busy Debras.
Line. Feels funny to say, but what does it mean?
It means we have to wait our turn to get some milk.
Waiting for something I want? Next you're going to tell me I have to wait for something I need.
And also a season of Love is Blind.
Tiff just texted me and said that Jackie didn't show up for their wedding dress fitting.
Oh.
But before the county council could finalize its biennial budget, dozens of public commenters urged the county to maintain the funding. They contend that Harbor Island Studios is a critical resource for the local film industry.
If we don't have a large studio space that can support multi-million-dollar productions, they're just going to go somewhere else.
So many communities rely on Harbor Island, and it's imperative that you keep this in order to maintain our creative economy in Washington.
The county council offered a temporary 6-month extension, but no permanent solution. Now, a local nonprofit stepping up to give it a new reprieve, at least for the next year. Arts reporter Chase Hutchinson is here.
Chase, good to see you.
Good to see you as always.
Tell us more about Harbor Island Studios. What's the story?
So essentially, Harbor Island Studios is a really critical piece of infrastructure for the creative economy for the film and TV production scene. It used to be a flour mill, and then the county acquired it for a big chunk of change and put all of this work into making it a high-quality functioning studio space. It's a 117,000 square foot facility with 2 sound stages and a third space for building and constructing, and some shooting if you're not needing to do sound. So it's a very versatile space where they are able to make sets, they're able to shoot, they're able to organize in a way that they couldn't without it.
And you can recognize it by the grain silos, right?
Yes, and I was there and walked through it, and it's a massive space that otherwise was sitting empty, and so it was something that the community rallied around and said, we should make use of this.
All right, why did the county decide to pull funding just 4 years after this opened?
Well, there was a change in the King County leadership to where there was a new executive. And the previous executive, this was something that was a big initiative they were wanting to do. New executive comes in, different priorities, no longer wanted general funds to go towards it.
And that was Dow Constantine's money, and now County Executive Gurmai Zahalai has a budget crunch, and he is much more fiscally conservative.
Yes, there are different priorities with different administrations, to put it lightly.
All right, as consumers, we don't always think about how or where movies and TV shows are made. So what actually happens inside a production facility like Harbor Island?
Like I said, it can be a multitude of things. You can build sets, you can shoot music videos, you can shoot films, you can shoot television shows, reality television shows. The upcoming 20th season of Married at First Sight also made use of the space as well as popping around to all of Seattle. So it can be both a space to shoot and make things and also kind of a central point to go around the state and city as well.
Harbor Island feels a bit unusual for a sound stage. It's very noisy. It's in an industrial area. Is that ever an issue for the production crew there?
There was, I believe, at the beginning, some conversations including around seagulls, and you can still hear them if you're in certain places in the space, but they've also done a very good job of soundproofing to where when you're in the soundstage, you're in the soundstage. You can't hear anything that's going on outside.
Okay, so in that respect, any giant box will do for a soundstage. Why does it matter that Harbor Island Studios is here in Seattle and publicly owned?
Well, at this point in time, it's that this was the space that they spent several years getting up and running. And so once they put that time and resources into it, they don't want to see it just go away because you can't just pivot, pack up all your stuff, and find a spot sitting and waiting. There could be other things, and I've heard people with this year-long kind of extension are always going to be looking for new places. But while they have this, you want to make use of it for as much as you can. Because I spoke to the new operators, and they said they've already been working through the backlog of people that were reaching out wanting to work there, and that they're having some big interest and hopeful productions happening as soon as possible.
How much production needs to happen here to get a return on this investment?
That is a very good question. I asked them that, and they didn't want to say exactly. And part of it is because it depends on how much the budget is, how long they're shooting, or it could be that you have a multitude of independent productions as well. It's kind of a big picture thing. They're wanting it to be available for anyone and everyone to make use of. And then once that happens, you hope there can be a bigger project that comes in there. There's the local filmmaker Mel Eslin, who shot a series kind of around Washington called Penelope recently and had made this film Biosphere with Sterling K. Brown and Mark Duplass, big names, that when I spoke to her about that a few years back, she said she would have shot it at Harbor Island if that was open, because it was a confined space, 2 characters in a little biosphere at the end of the world. Very interesting, fun movie. And so if you can attract that type of talent or other Duplass Brothers productions that Mel Eslin was the former president of, that would be a big way of saying to the county, look, we have something here. We're bringing in these bigger things. Sometimes indie ones too can also be bigger, but it's like you want to have it as many kind of bigger productions as you possibly can to say, hey, we can't lose these. We need these.
Does it make fiscal sense to shoot here? One of the reasons I think people ended up in Vancouver, British Columbia shooting was because of the cost of shooting locally.
That will be a question that many people will have many different answers to, including an answer of, does it make sense to shoot anywhere is kind of a big question too. I would say there are people who are dedicated to making this happen. There's Washington Filmworks that's been increasing their incentive and trying to bring folks here and make it easier to do all of that. Are we on the same level of Vancouver currently? Not yet. But I think that as there are more places like Harbor Island, in theory, that means you can have things here for less, more efficient, and get things going. Because in this case, it's mostly about time. And if you can have something that's already here and get things rolling, that's the best way to make it a financially sustainable operation.
What opportunity does Washington have right now to grow as a force in the creative industry? I cannot tell you how many productions I've seen filming in Vancouver and calling it Seattle.
Yes, and that's long been something I think both filmmakers and film lovers have a hard time with, and it's easy to see why. The thing is that's interesting is the industry, even outside of Washington, is kind of in flux. Los Angeles used to be a big hub, and while there are steps being taken to try and bring it back to that, there's also been a mass exodus. You could capture some of those productions that are looking to find a new home. You could steal some of the things in Vancouver back. And also there can be those great homegrown productions that use a space like this, but also can shoot anywhere to where Washington plays itself. Or there's this really interesting sci-fi movie called Prospect that has a little actor by Pedro Pascal and Sophie Thatcher. That was pretty much homegrown and really kind of a testament to the talent and creative potential here. if there's the resources and infrastructure to support it. When I spoke to the new operators of Harbor Island Studios, they view this as an opportunity, that there are many things that they can't control, but hopefully they can make themselves more competitive, and that a studio space like this is a key part of it.
Let's talk about Create 48, the new operators. Yes. Who are they, and what is their vision for this space? Because they're in place there through June 2027.
They are Kirk Nordstrom and Chris Flink, and the very interesting full circle thing is they were at the SIF Cinema Uptown doing their event, which is where they have filmmakers have 48 hours to make a film and then they show it. They were tabling the night before the King County Council was meeting, saying, we need to show up, we need to rally together, say why this is important. And now they've found themselves being the operators. They have a lot of experience with sort of that project management, but this is still a big piece of infrastructure that they're hoping that they can get another extension on, or that in their kind of recurring check-ins, they can make the case and say, people are coming in, big productions want to be here. We have to give them as much kind of room to work, because if something comes in next May and says, we want it for 2 months, do you say, sorry, we can only give you a month? That's kind of what they're looking at it as.
All right. So they're kind of on hopes and dreams right now for the future, because this is not exactly a long-term solution.
They did tell me that, Kirk in specific told me that he doesn't anticipate the space being sold anytime soon. And that was just his opinion and perspective. But I think they are looking at it as we need to hold on to this for as long as we can.
Yeah, the county has run a surplusing report on this. It's worth about $22 million. It'll cost far more, though, I guess, to demolish it.
Yes.
So they are looking for a private buyer.
Yes. And I don't know, unless you want to go halvesies on it, I don't know what that's going to quite look like. But where you say demolish it, that's like their worst case scenario. They don't want to see it be that this gets knocked down and becomes an Amazon warehouse. Because what Chris told me is she's worked in this production economy and seen talented crew, talented filmmakers develop skills here and then leave and never come back, or rarely come back because there just isn't the work there.
This is a lot of jobs here. There's a lot of people who build sets, not just actors.
Film productions are massive logistical endeavors. Every one is kind of a miracle, and there's way more people working on it than typically most people would think. And so that's where you want to see as many of these productions develop that crew, provide consistent jobs so that they can also begin making their own projects here as well. I've heard that the commercial environment is good. And obviously people aren't rushing out to the theaters to see a commercial. But again, that's a job. You can be getting employed and kind of developing a skill set through that as well. And it's long been something that people are feeling much more optimistic about. There have been a couple other bigger productions shot in the city and in the state. There was Train Dreams last year, which became a big Oscar contender. That was more in the East Side. But it had lots of people from Seattle, from Washington working on it. They also used some of the infrastructure around the city as well. So there are projects that are happening, but they always hope they can be more. Like, it will never be that there are too many productions coming to the region.
All right. Well, what are you looking for as the year goes on?
I'll be keeping an eye on kind of the ongoing negotiations and if there's any movement or indication about another extension. I don't know if it will be down to the wire as it kind of was this time, where we'll be talking June 2027 that we have until the next June, or it could be sooner, or it could be that other studio spaces potentially are popping up. It's a small part of the city. Like, you can still make films without studio spaces like this, but it is also a big part of bringing as many of those kind of outside productions as you possibly can.
Chase Hutchinson is an arts reporter and film critic. Really appreciate it.
Thanks as always.
Thanks for listening to Seattle Now. If you can today, take a minute to rate and review the show. You can do that right on the podcast app. And before we go, our question of the week: is it important that Seattle's next police chief live in the city full time? Tell us why or why not. Share your answer in the KUOW app. Just open the menu and select Talk to Us. More at kuow.org/question. Today's episode was produced by Jonathan Chang. It was edited by Caroline Chamberlain Gomez. Our production team also includes Brooklyn Jamerson Flowers, Vaughn Jones, Andy Hurst, and Patricia Murphy. Greg Kramer does our theme music. Seattle Now and KUOW Public Radio are members of the NPR network. I'm Paige Browning. Talk to you tonight for Evening Headlines.